President, and today I rise to contribute to the debate on our colleague's motion on the Victorian education system. But before I do, I want to also join Ms Barth in extending my thoughts and my prayers to the children and families affected by the devastating school bus crash in Eynesbury and Melton. And I know that everyone in this chamber will join me in expressing our sadness. I also want to commend the hard-working first responders from the CFA and the Victoria Police, as well as the Ambulance Victoria, who rushed to the scene, and the hard-working personnel at the Royal Children's Hospital, working around the night to care for these children. And it feels weird to change tune like this, but so is the moving and shakings of our chamber. So back to the motion 16 from my colleague Ms Barth, Deputy President. This motion requests that the Legal and Social Issues Committee inquire, consider and report by 14th November 2023 on the Victorian education system across government schools. It touches upon a variety of things that our investigation is aimed to find, and I'll address these shortly. But what I first want to begin by saying this clearly: the proposed review of the Parliament is duplicating the work that has already been done, and is not a good use of the valuable resources or of the committee's time given our work. Given that the government is working hard each and every day to ensure Victoria continues to be the education state in every way. Deputy President, there are several reviews on foot to ensure we apply the best research and advice when educating Victorian schools. This system of review is reviewed through a range of public resources, including teachers, academics, students and parents. For instance, there is a National School Reform Agreement Expert Panel, the Productivity Commission's review of the National School Reform Agreement, Teachers Education Expert Panel, the National Teachers Workforce Action Plan and the Senate inquiry into the school refusal. And the Victorian Government has been actively participating in all of them. We are truly the education state, and those of us on this side of the chamber get it. We know that education is a great equaliser. I know that some don't take pride in this, but we as a state, we pride ourselves on education and our younger Victorians. We recognise the impact and the importance of education on an individual's life, and how many opportunities a decent education can give you. We also recognise how integral to our community teachers are. The hard work, the hours of unseen work, often unpaid. We thank them for their immeasurable good they have done for our children and our families and our community. Guided by these principles, it is essential that Victoria has a government that shares these values and puts them into practice. Because of this, I am proud to be a member of the Andrews Labor government that puts our money where our mouth is, and we talk about education. While those opposite, the Liberal and National Party, spent the 1990s shutting schools down, and the northern western suburbs and the Andrews Labor government has worked tirelessly to build schools for our growing suburbs. Acting Deputy President, compare this to the Andrews Labor's government's record on new schools.
Order. Mr Berger without assistance. Thank you. Mr Berger to continue. But without assistance. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy President. We are opening 100 new schools by 2026 and upgrading over 1,000 existing schools. And I know that my colleagues in the West, Minister Blanthorpe and Minister Stitt, would know more than me on this topic. But every day, basically every day, it feels like we are opening up a new school in the West. But let me just give you a taste of how rapidly we are getting on with the job. I'm sure that my colleagues in the West would be more informed to speak on this than me, but sometimes it feels like there's a new school opening up every day. Just to give you an idea of how rapidly the Ministry for Education has been getting on with this job, I'll read out all the schools that were open last year alone. These schools were opened last year: Bass Coast College San Remo campus, Clyde Creek Primary School, Clyde Secondary College, Deanside Primary School, Endeavour Hills Specialist School, Gilgai Plains Primary School, Greater Shepparton Secondary College, Greenvale Secondary College, McKinnon Secondary College East Campus, Port Melbourne Secondary College, that's in my neck of the woods, President, and I'm excited to visit that school soon. And of course, Strathwell Primary School, Willowbank Primary School, Wollert Primary School, Warrang Senior Campus. That's 14 schools opened in 1 year alone. 2020 saw the building of 11 schools, and in 2021 we built 14. Next year, we expect to see another 14 built. This has put us well ahead of the schedule in our plan to build 100 schools by 2026. This is the work that the Labor Andrews government is all about. Strong, life-changing infrastructure that affects all of which we felt for decades to come. Just like how Kennett School courses are felt to this day. In my neck of the woods, families and students have felt the benefits of governments that seriously about education. In Paran, where my office is, Paran High School has been open for 4 years. That's 4 years of valuable education made accessible for students in the area. Deputy President, while those opposite members of the coalition whose federal counterparts walked away from funding the final 2 years of the Gonski Agreement, leaving Victorian students $1 billion worse off each year from 2018, we are a government that invests in education. Look at our announcement earlier this year. Victorian families can now save hundreds of dollars. That's right, with extra vocational education and training funding to cover the cost of students' course materials. That's a $120.2 million funding package to make schools can cover course material for students and deliver the vital VET courses in industries where they need it most. But, Deputy President, this motion also speaks to, quote, the state of the teaching profession in Victoria. We here on this side have a deep respect for our teachers, as I touched on earlier. This is why we have delivered several policies to support teachers. We are committed to supporting new teachers in their educational training. We believe in opening schools for giving opportunities that we can, just like we can make both Cert 3 and Diploma of Early Childhood Education free. This means that those wanting to give early childhood education, they have one less barrier in the way of achieving their dreams and goals. We're also expanding the Victorian Academy of Teaching and Leadership in regional areas, with learning centres to be built in Bairnsdale, Ballarat, Bendigo, Mildura and Shepparton, with regional educator learning centres being opened in Geelong, Moe earlier this year. These educator learning centres are world-class facilities. We are making training accessible and viable to ensure that we have a strong and robust education workforce. It would be a tragedy if any talented would-be educator was unable to pursue a career in education due to economic or geographical constraints. It also greatly benefits students in regional areas by ensuring that teachers have access to this world-class training. In training new teachers, we're also offering staff those regional schools that might find it more difficult and fully staff their classrooms. The Innovation Tech Rural program, which benefits schools around St Arnaud, Bairnsdale, Wangaratta, Tallangatta and the Otways and Swan Hill. It will help students, teachers on pre-service teachers gain a range of experience in teaching environments outside the metro areas. The Andrews Labor government also believes that all schools should be safe and a supportive space. These principles have guided many of our education policies. Despite how exciting a time in your life it is, your school years can be really tough. Students may have a variety of issues going on in their lives, at home or at school. It's important that schools be equipped to be able to support any student that is struggling with issues, whether it be mental health support, cultural support or learning support. The 2021-2022 budget saw the delivery of $200 million Schools Mental Health Fund. The fund is designed to allow schools to establish mental health support programs tailored to the needs of their students. It also facilitates the connection of schools with specialist services to strengthen and support networks of their students. This government is incredibly proud of the measures that we have taken to ensure that every student in Victoria feels welcome and supported in school environments. We have spearheaded several programs to promote the comfort and support of students across Victoria. We've made great efforts to assist schools in accommodating the needs of LGBTQI and gender diverse students as they face unique difficulties. For too long, we have heard stories of students who feel unwelcome or unsafe at their school, all because of treatment they've received for their identity. The Andrews Labor government is proud supporter of the adoption of the Safe Schools program. It is a fantastic means to address the wellbeing of the LGBTQI+ students across Victoria. The Andrews Labor government has invested $1.6 billion in disability inclusion. This includes so many life-changing programs like grants we offered in 2020 to build and upgrade schools with increased accessibility and inclusion within schools, to courses developed with the Universities of Melbourne Graduate School of Education training Victorian teachers and with learning disabilities.
Thank you. Mr Puglielli.